Okay, this video is about making a 2-transistor audio oscillator to make a Morse code practice oscillator. Now they have some videos in there on making a 1-transistor oscillator, and I didn't really like those because from what I understand that what they use is reverse biasing, and they use like 12 volt for reverse avalanche voltage, and it causes it to conduct. And you don't need the base of the transistor for it. And this high voltage, from what I understand, will lessen the life of the transistor. I tried making one and it didn't seem to work, at least not the way I wanted it to. And in one video the guy said he had to try 2 or 3 of the same kind of transistors to get it to work. So I found this oscillator. I'll put a link to it. It's actually originally a oscillator that blinks, but I changed the values of the resistors and the capacitors and to bring it from real low frequency blinking up to up to an audio frequency. And you can adjust the tone of it with this variable resistor, but there's no volume control. It's as loud as it'll get, and it's as quiet as it will get. So it's kind of mid-range. If you don't have any hearing problems, you should easily be able to hear it. But it isn't overbearing. It isn't real loud, but I think it's loud enough. So this is the parts list of what you need. You'll need 4 resistors, 5 counting the variable resistor, a battery, or some 9 volt. This will use 9 volts, 9 volt source, and a Morse code key and a speaker, and 2 transistors. Now these funny looking resistors in here, I didn't have the resistors that I needed. I needed 230 ohms, and these are about 460 each resistor, and then I put them in parallel, so that cut them in half to about 2 to 230. If you put them on an ohm meter, they're like 236. It's not that critical. And then this one by himself, I just happen to have a 1K resistor. The 2 capacitors are electrolytic, so they're polarized, and they are 1 microfarad each one. And then the transistors they're both 2N2222 transistors. And I think I mentioned the speaker, which is a 8 ohm 2 watt speaker. This over here, that's your parts list. This is my wiring diagram. You can call it a schematic. I drew it to the configuration that I'm actually going to wire this thing. So this is where my 600 ohm first resistor goes. This is the positive rail. Your battery goes up here. Your speaker goes over here. It's not going to be this big, the whole circuit. I'm going to scrunch it in, but you'll see how I do it as I go along. Here's one transistor, one capacitor, the other capacitor, the 2 transistors, one here and one here. This will be what we call ugly wiring, meaning it's not on a circuit board. It's just wired direct, and it looks ugly, and that's why ham operators like to call it ugly soldering or ugly wiring. There's one of the 230 transistors. The other one goes up here, and our 1K ohm goes here. And our variable resistor goes up here, and our key is going to be way off to the side. This is the battery connector. So we'll get started now. I've set up this here, right here. I'm going to move that onto the paper. It's going to be the positive, and then the negative will be down here. That'll be our ground. So we'll start with this one and work across the top. I'm going to tin this right on the corner. I'll take this. I wonder if I bought a wood burning iron instead of a soldering iron. I can already feel it on my thumb. It's so hot. Okay. Now we'll go to, see, is that on there? Yeah, he's on there. This guy. I want to go out to about here. I may, during this video, move some of these around. Pretty well wired on there. You can zoom up a little. Our next one is the 230, nope, I'm sorry, is the 1K. We're going to move him out here. I might have put that variable resistor in the wrong spot. And then I'm going to put this other 230 ohm resistor over here. And that's that. And then the end of the speaker is going to go on along with the battery towards the end. So our next thing we're going to do is put on our transistor. Probably put them on right there. I keep calling these transistors these capacitors. Problem is they'll probably fall off when I go to put that wire on there that goes over to, oh, my other transistors down here. Probably all this stuff's going to fall off because that heats up so fast. But we'll see what we can do. He's stuck. He's stuck rather well too. Suppose I could really yank on him. Yeah, he's on there pretty good. He'll fall off at the critical moment. And then we need to put a little jumper in there. So I'm out of camera. What I'm doing is tinning this thing. Try and get in here so I can show you what I'm doing. Sorta. capacitors are polarized. This black line here is the negative side. You'll see on our quasi schematic here, this arc side is the negative side. Usually on schematics they'll put a little plus sign on the straight sign for clarity. So the negative side goes on the 600 ohm resistor, R1 in this case. Now we can put on 2 capacitors. I'm sorry, boy, we don't know what the transistor, maybe I should shut down and go take basic electronics and learn the difference between a capacitor and a transistor. Okay, here's our transistor. I don't know why I'm calling them capacitors. In the background here, that's an N2, a 2, N, 2, 2, 2, 2, 222. So if you are going to use a 2N22222, you're going to have the flat side. This has a little flat side to it. I'm not sure if we can see the flat side. Yeah, we can. It's right there. See, this is kind of round. This has a little nick and he's flat. We have him facing up because our collector goes on to this line, which is this guy, the one with the capacitor and the number 1 resistor. Flat side up. I dropped him and now I gotta find there's a flat side. Now we got him. Okay. There, see? It works. It's an oscillator. Now on the end of this resistor, which is up here, let me get my pointer here, on this end, I'll put our other transistor. And that goes to the base. Am I sure about that? Man, I hope I'm sure about that. We'll put him on. The base is the middle one on the 2 N222 transistor. The base. I'll bend this collector out a little bit because he's going to go off in a totally different direction. And we'll be sure and touch my finger with this thing. I have. There it is, oscillating again. So now we're going to get our collector. Let's not get our collector yet. Let's get our base of this other transistor. Down here in the bottom, our base is this really long wire that goes way over to here. So we need a wire, and nothing else connects in between, so we'll find a wire here that goes that far, and it's probably going to be an orange one. And see, it's an orange wire, and it actually just about fit. Looks like my transistor, the black transistor as opposed to the blue transistor. The black transistor base gets this. We're going to kink this guy too, because he's the one that needs to be kinked. The other one doesn't. We'll just hook this up here. We don't care if it's straight or not. It's not. Let's see. Since I'm going to put a capacitor in there, this guy's got really short legs. He's almost wounded. He's been used a lot. All of these components have been used. So maybe I'll put a wire on him first. A little tricky. And the wire is going to go on the positive side, which is not the dark side. It's the light side. Now, is that wire on there? The whole thing melded together. Here we are with the oscillation again. Try to get him to focus. And our purple stripe is here. Moving right along, we think we need to figure out what I'm doing. We got that off of there, we got that to there. Which I hope I have right. Okay, yeah, let's turn the whole thing up. There we go. Because is what we have left on this end, if everything's right, is this guy and this guy, which are these two, which go to ground, which we have a wire for that. Okay, for our ground, we have this. We got a end of it, and then we have another end of it. It's like trying to weld aluminum to steel or something. Doesn't want to go. Didn't know you'd have to learn how to sew. Now this guy, I want to get rid of him because he's kind of close to that, but I'll trim him later. Now, hook that to there. That is up here. It goes around and it goes down and it goes to the emitters of the two transistors. We got to do the battery part, which the speaker's in the way. The battery comes off this top rail, which is where this first resistor is. So our battery is going to go right on here. So we're going to hook that red part to there, and then the yellow part, the black yellow part, goes to the key, the other part of the key. So So the key is essentially, well, is exactly an on-off switch. So we'll come over here. We can, I think I'm going to put it on the end. I may regret that. If I was going to try and mount this into something, I'd probably want to put it in here and try and make this a little smaller. Hell, you could slip it in a plastic envelope and carry it like that. Okay, let's tin the end of that. And hook our red dude up to it. Still hot. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to tin the end of this yellow one. And then this yellow, this black one. I think he's in there. Just being a nerd. So the yellow dealio is there. Could have used a shorter wire, I suppose. Because he's kind of... And that's it. Okay, then. All we have to do next is plug this in. Hope everything's hooked up right. And see if it works. I think you can hear that. It's pretty loud. Oh. Yeah, it works. What was I gonna... Oh, I was sitting here, something popped into my head and popped out. I need to find this little dealio. Let's clear out some of this background noise. Maybe put a sheet of paper here. Ah, there we go. Move everything over a little bit. And up here is this little blob, which is your variable resistor. The one right here on your schematic. Now, if we put this screwdriver in there, that's the highest. And that's the lowest. I kind of like it right in there. You can just turn that little resistor and change the pitch. If I put a audio amplifier in there, you could change the volume and set it down. Maybe it's better to slip him under here without the diagram. That's what he looks like. Now, what you put that in is up to you. I don't know what I'd put it in. I might just put it down on a board and just maybe tape it to a board or glue it to a board, piece of cardboard, with this on the outside of it, however you want to do it. Okay. I think you've heard enough. Now you can catch either the video where I breadboard this. You could put it in a breadboard and leave it, or you can go to my video that I will post up a little bit after this, give you people time to make it and stuff. And I'll have a video on learning how to do CW. We'll get into that in the other video. Thank you for watching this. If you liked it, give it a like. Thanks again.